May is Asian Heritage Month, and it provides an opportunity for Canadians across the country to reflect on and celebrate the contributions of Asian Canadians. The theme this year is continuing a legacy of greatness. It's also a reminder for all Canadians to come together to combat anti-Asian racism and discrimination. To talk more about Asian Heritage Month and anti-Asian racism, I'm joined by two guests. Jing Hu is the co-founder of Tomorrow Youth, a video project to help educate Albertans, and Wendy Peng, a grade 10 student who is also trying to raise awareness and affect change. Hello to you both.
Hi.
So let me start with you, Jing. Tell us a bit about this video project and why you're doing it.
Well, thank you, Andrew. So our video project was kind of inspired by the theme of Asian Heritage Month from last year. And mainly it was inspired by the tragic Atlanta shooting that happened just before Asian Heritage Month, I believe. So myself and two other university students, we really wanted to respond to the alarming increase in anti-Asian hate as seen by the COVID-19 pandemic. So we felt inspired to create a video project which kind of aligns with the goals of Asian Heritage Month. We have two main purposes. The first one is to showcase Asian Canadian voices and their experiences with hate and their thoughts on how to help to the public, which ties into our second goal, which is to educate the Canadian public and how to help as bystanders and the history and different experiences of those that have unfortunately experienced hate.
Yeah, and you mentioned that alarming increase that we're seeing during the pandemic. What are you seeing out there? Have you experienced this?
Well, for me, personally, it's been almost 10 years since I have immigrated to Canada, and reflecting on my journey, I have experienced some different types of hate, I would say, different types of microaggressions such as daily jokes that kind of is brushed over my head until I look back on it upon later. But the main one was part of the nonprofit Covid-9Teen Tomorrow's Youth, which you mentioned. We were hosting a summer workshop back in the May of 2020, which we unfortunately experienced Zoom bombing, where a group of strangers from the internet, they were able to access our Zoom code and our meeting. And based on seeing kind of our race and our ethnicity, they kind of started spamming hate slurs in the Zoom chat. Which I would say that's the major hate I've experienced.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Wendy, how about you? Have you been coming across an increase in anti-Asian racism or discrimination through the pandemic?
I definitely have. I guess one instance was I was walking down the street with my family, and there was this Caucasian couple that was on the same side of the street as us, and when they saw us, they started to cover their noses and their mouths, and they crossed the street to avoid us. Of course, the action itself was not big or that harmful, but the meaning behind it did hurt. Even though we're all Canadians, there's still a separation with my race, and I felt that disconnection in that moment.
What kind of impact did that have on you, Wendy?
It just made me feel like there was too much separation. We're all Canadians at the end of the day. We all share the same nationality, but the fact that they avoided me just because of my ethnicity, it really made me feel like Canada was starting to become more separated from the pandemic and with more targeted discrimination towards Asian communities.
And Wendy, you joined a rally denouncing this kind of racism. Why was that important for you to do?
So the reason I did join the rally is, first of all, I wanted to support my youth group, and the second was to spread more awareness. The comment was made by the Premier, Jason Kenney of Alberta. So the fact that people with authority are still making comments that can be controversial because they can come off racist or biased, I wanted to do something about it. especially with those that have authority, they should be careful with their words and promote unity. So I wanted just to speak out and to make a change in this case.
Jing, how do we start getting better, do you think?
Well, that's a great question. As we near the end of May and as well as Asian Heritage Month is also a very important reminder for us that the hate doesn't end just by the end of Asian Heritage Month. The hate will continue, and it will continue to be an important topic to be touched on. And it's very important for people to speak up and to continue to highlight this issue. So I believe that as Canadians, as bystanders, and for those who have not experienced hate directly, it's very important to get informed and get educated and know ways on how to help. And for those who have unfortunately experienced the hate, it's also very important to speak up. And there are many different ways to speak up. I believe you can report it anonymously, as well as use your social media platforms to speak up and join different organizations and watch what they have planned for Asian Heritage Month is very important as well, in my opinion.
How about you, Wendy? What kind of solutions to this do you see out there?
I definitely do think that spreading awareness is important. So this can include social media or just having more things on the internet. But also, I want schools to try and promote more in cases of racism. In my school, just last month, there was a promotion for Ramadan and just sharing some more culture. And if that could also happen for many different cultures and also with my own culture, just basically spreading the awareness and for youth to be more educated, since youth are the next generation, we're going to be taking this up. So I want to make an impact for the youth. So if schools were able to spread a little more awareness as well and include something in the curriculum, that would be wonderful.
And before we go, Wendy, what does the celebration of Asian Heritage Month mean to you?
It's a time for me to express my thoughts and what I feel for this month and about my culture. It's also just a time for me to, I guess, feel safe in a way, because there's more awareness in this month and more people coming together and more people for me to talk to about my opinions on racism. So it's really just a way for expression and a way for me to feel connected to others.
And how about you, Jing?
Well, I definitely agree with Wendy. This is a month for us to celebrate and embrace our culture. And it's also a month that provides a lot of opportunities for us to get involved and most importantly, to share our experiences. And it's also very important for Canadians to learn about the history of Asians here in Canada and to build hope for the future.
Well, and thank you both very much for sharing your experiences with us. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.